Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome here inside East Gymnasium at Fort Lee High School for this matchup of two non-conference teams, as it's the Watchung Hills Warriors coming in to take on the Fort Lee Bridgemen. Watchung Hills 11-8 and out of the Skyland Conference, taking on the Bridgemen 11-9, representing the Big North Conference. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dan Long, courtside alongside our camera operator, Renee Matisich, and our producer, Dimitri Nanis. So glad that he could join us here for another edition of Bridgemen Boys Basketball. Big game in terms of potential power points on the line. If Fort Lee could pull off the win here at home, that would really give them some momentum heading into the final stretch of the regular season. Fort Lee has lost 2 in a row and have lost 6 out of their last 7 games on the season after getting off to a rip-roaring start to the year. Finding Isaiah Stang, he's the team's leading scorer, and that one rattles halfway down, but then out. Watchung Hills coming in off an impressive win and led by that man, John Kelly. As Kelly knocks in his first three-point attempt of the afternoon. Kelly had 24 points in the road win against North Bergen, a team that we saw in person here at Fort Lee win the Jack Riley Holiday Tournament, knocking off the Bridgemen that day. So that is an impressive win for this Watchung Hills side. 3-0 lead for the visitors. They've had to face a little adversity even before the start of today's game. Watchung Hills team bus broke down, as now Bem Ogadegbe gets Fort Lee on the board, and players had to arrive separately to the game. Not phased at all after they took that initial lead in this contest. But Ogadegbe gets Fort Lee on the board. It's a 3-2 margin. Trying to defend against Kelly, the sharpshooter number 11 on that lurking in the far baseline. Kelly inside trying to dump it down low. Ildermaz, and there's that shot left short by Kelly, finds his own rebound. Off of the miss as Fort Lee trying to scramble. Here's another long-range three for Watchung Hills, no good. Tipped out in space, and that'll ricochet its way out of bounds over to our near side broadcast corner. Last touch off of Watchung Hills. Justin Salton is the head man here at Watchung Hills, while Adam Schrager is in his 5th season at the helm here at Fort Lee. 3-2 lead for the visitors as Ogadegbe marking out the instructions. He averages just under 11 points per game. At 17 points in their last game for Fort Lee. Greenberg was all by his lonesome for the 3. Misfires. Rebound tracked down by Tommy Morris. In the open floor, Hockmeyer was trying to kick it out to the far side, and that time John Kelly, the 6'2 junior guard, got called for the travel. Kelly tied a season high with his 24 points against North Bergen. Also had 24 points, 9 rebounds in a matchup earlier this season against J.P. Stevens. This Watchung Hills side fell last year in the North 2 Group 4 quarterfinals to eventual Group 4 state champions Elizabeth. They gave them all they could handle, too. Lost by only 2 to the Minutemen. So this is a team that is battle-tested and very talented. 11-8 so far this season. Ogadegbe driving inside, kicking it out up top to Isaiah Stang. Really, as Stang goes, this Fort Lee team goes. Here's Devin Jang. Tries the up and under scoop shot, and he gets it to go. Nice decisive move there by Jang, and instead of going with the outside hand, just scooped it up and under his defender. And Devin, who's more of a three-point shooter, showing his ability off the dribble there. Fort Lee with their first lead of the ball game, 4-3. Watchung Hills rotating around to the far side. Kelly dumping it down low. Game and catch with Ildermaz. Up top, Kolakowski trying to get it inside to his big man. Definitely got poked away, but right into the hands of Watchung Hills in the far side wing. Long sane possession here on offense for the Warriors. Stang snatches it out of midair and forces the turnover. Bounce pass down the length of the floor to Kamani Clark. Clark is fouled on his way up there by Kolakowski. And that'll be the first foul of the game for either team with 4:26 left to go. And officially, the foul is going to be called against number 22, Tommy Morris. So Morris picks up the foul, his first, team's first, and that will send Kamani Clark, the junior forward, to the foul line, shooting 2. Clark knocks down the first made foul shot. That's big for him. He's only a 58% foul shooter on the season. So Clark getting his first points. Clark is short on the second foul shot. Ogadegbe tracks down the miss, though. Bem Ogadegbe, 17 points on 3 threes as well in that loss over the weekend here at home against Demarest. As there's a bum foul on the floor against Watchung Hills. Fort Lee was in the top 8 for a long time in North 2 Group 3, but now have fallen to number 9 based on losing 6 out of their last 7 games. Love to get going and get that confidence back that they showed. They raced out to a great start to the season. Try to get in that top 8 so that they can host one of these postseason games here at East Gymnasium. Isaiah Stang's shot is no good. Good defense there by Dean Smith. Number 24. Perfect name for basketball. Smith over into the far side corner. Now with a cutter across the lane. Good recovery defense here by Fort Lee. Jang forced the turnover. Ogadegbe stole it back. Ogadegbe trying to go coast to coast. Wild left-hand shot, no good, as Bem was looking for his second basket. Watchung Hills was trying to attack down the floor. Good recovery defense and a kick ball out of bounds off of Fort Lee last. It's going to be a timeout taken by Coach Justin Salton as his Warriors, after hitting their opening shot of the game to take a 3-0 lead, have been a little sloppy here on offense since that point. They trail 5-3 as he tries to set this up. As we mentioned, Watchung Hills is coming in off an impressive 55-38 road win on Saturday at North Bergen. Only their second road win of the season and first since December 29th. Watchung Hills shares 2 common opponents with Fort Lee this season, having played both Memorial and North Bergen. They went 2-0 against those Hudson County opponents, while Fort Lee went 1-1. Last time that Watchung Hills took on a Bergen County opponent, they faced off against Ramapo and lost 69-68 last February 26. So out of the timeout, the inbound, as Watchung Hills operating on offense. They are the roadside in the brown with a gold and white trim. Silver numbers. Fort Lee in their home white with the orange numerals. Richmond trying to get their 12th win of the season. Watchung Hills looking for win number 12 as well. Here's a 3 of the near side. Good defensive work by Ogadegbe, getting right in the face of the shooter. Zhang was the one who was trying to uncork that 3. Here's Isaiah Stang, getting a couple of defenders to fly by him, but he was short on the shot. Good defense here from both teams in the early goings. 2:45 and counting left to go in the first quarter. 5-3 lead for Fort Lee. They've scored 5 in a row after trailing 3-0. One-handed pass over into the near corner for Kolakowski. Zhang feeding Kolakowski underneath. Shifts and gets it to drop. Braden Kolakowski, the 6'1 senior, getting his first 2 points of the game. Coming off a 13-point performance at North Bergen. 5-5 your score. Ogadegbe picking up the dribble, giving it off. Devin Zhang back to Ogadegbe, sets and fires, and he nails the wide open, uncontested 3. Bem has 5 points here in the quarter, 5 of his team's 7. Wide open underneath, and that's going to be a foul. Going straight up for that shot as Watchung Hills caught Fort Lee asleep on defense as there was a cutter just behind the last defender and underneath the rim. So Watchung Hills will try to pull even here with 1:54 left to go. First foul shot, no good. 11-8 on the season. Watchung Hills comes in after winning back-to-back games against Asbury Park and North Bergen. Had an outstanding season a season ago. They went 21-7. Last year, Fort Lee put up 18 wins, their most in school history since 2013. Greenberg now lets it over to Isaiah Stang. Stang and Ogadegbe, Devin Zhang, they were big-time contributors to that success last season as underclassmen. Now Ogadegby and Stang, two of the senior leaders. Stang throws that one away. That's anticipated, and the Warriors now look to break down the other way. Down by only one, looking to recover and recapture their lead. Cross-court pass was trying to find Kelly. Spotting up from distance from straight away, no good. Kelly trying to crash the offensive glass. Stang with the defensive rebound. Gives it over to Ogadegby. As we come up on the final minute of a low-scoring first quarter, only 13 combined points between these two teams. Kamani Clark handing it off to Isaiah Stang. Stang, who averages 17 points per game, has yet to score so far here at the beginning of this game. Devin Jang, who had that nice, nifty layup, got his account open. Looking, firing, moving inside. Curling shot, no good, and he gets called for the push-off going over the back as he tried to crash the offensive glass. So Devin Jang will pick up the offensive foul. That'll be his first, team's second. 7-6, still the lead here for Fort Lee. To come up on the final 30 seconds. Devin Jang tried to gamble there to win the steal back. Up top to Kelly. Around the horn, quick ball movement inside the lane, the runner, and the floater falls for Kolakowski. 4 points in the quarter for number 14 in Brown. Watchung Hills back on top, this time by an 8-7 margin. Under 10 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Ogadegby's got to get going here. Takes his defender off the dribble, drops it off for Isaiah Stang, and Stang can't even get the shot off in time. And a well-played defensive first quarter for both teams. Only 15 combined points between the two sides. And Watchung Hills will take a 1-point lead into the second. Stick around as we'll be back for the start of the second quarter as you're watching all the action here on YouTube. As we're coming closer and closer to the playoff cutoff date, which is this upcoming Saturday, February 11th. Take a look at the power points for both sides. Watchung Hills participates in North 2 Group 4. Coming into today's action, they are 11th. They would be in the top 16, which is the tournament field, but they would be on the road right now. Only a couple points behind number 10, Irvington. Fort Lee comes in as the number 9 seed. In North 2 Group 3, just ahead of North Hunterdon. And not that far behind number 8 Summit. If you get into the top 8, that would assure you at least one home game in the beginning round of the sectional playoffs. Right now, because they would be the 9, Fort Lee would have to hit the road in the first round of the sectional playoffs. So this game has so many valuable power points on the line that can improve the chances for both teams of still holding out hope of starting at home in the postseason. There's a corner 3 ball, no good, off the front rim by Kelly. Ogadegby with a rebound. Just underway in the start of the second quarter. I'm Dan Long, so glad that you could join us here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Broadcast home for both boys and girls basketball action this winter here from inside East Gymnasium. Devin Jang tries to shake and bake, but gets called for the carry instead. That's going to be another turnover. And again, Devin is known as a spot-up shooter. He's really good, especially from three-point range. He leads this team with 58 triples on the season. Dribbling and trying to take his man off the dribble, that's not really his game. Now Watchung Hills still preserving a slim 1-point margin. Led early in the game, 3-2 as well. Now working it around. Again, being patient against this zone look that Fort Lee has been sporting. Leads to the open corner 3, and that's a knockdown 3 for John Kelly. You're playing with fire when you're leaving number 11 alone in a corner, and he took the short corner route right in front of us and cans his second 3 of the game. Kelly trying to jump in the passing lanes as well there. Kelly with 6 points to lead the way for Watchung Hills. Ogadegby and Fort Lee struggling offensively in the latter portion of this season. Last 2 games, they've been held under 40 points in each of those losses. Ogadegby doing a good job of maneuvering his way inside and eventually to the rim. Ogadegby now with a game-high 7. 11-9. Watchung Hills' lead is 2. Cross-court pass, another wide-open look from 3 for the Warriors. No good this time. Rebound by Hockenmeyer. No good as he sails it wide of the rim. Got to get Stang going. Get this man in motion. Leaves it behind for Greenberg. Sets and fires from deep. No good. Boxing out underneath was Kelly for the rebound. Again on the baseline, weaving his way to the rim. Left it short, though. That time was Tommy Morris, the senior guard who had only 2 points against North Bergen last time. He's trying to equal that amount here today. Isaiah Stang a little out of control, trying to force that one. And that one goes out of bounds. And will be possession going back over to Watchung Hills with 5:37 left to go in this low-scoring affair here in Bergen County. Last 2 home games, the Bridgemen are averaging only 37.5 points per game. Their struggles continue here as that goes out of play with 5:26 left to go. As Ogadegby will get it back after getting it tapped in off the hands of Isaiah Stang. Ogadegby's been really all the offense here today for Fort Lee. He gets stripped, though, as he was trying to get past his defender. Great help defense there by Smith. Nice look underneath to the cutting Kelly, who filled the lane and was wide open underneath the rim. And now John Kelly up to 8 points in the game, 13-9. Watchung Hills on top as Coach Adam Schrager wants to talk things over with his team, as he doesn't like how this team is starting to not perform on one end and leading to opportunities in transition for Watchung Hills. Warriors representing the Skylands Conference's Raritan Division, where they are in 5th place this season. Immaculata is the top dog in that division, 7-3. Hillsboro, Ridge, Phillipsburg, all above Watchung Hills right now. As Montgomery, the team that dwells underneath Watchung Hills in the standings. Fort Lee represents the Big North American Division. They are in 3rd place behind Dumont and Dwight Morrow and ahead of Cliffside Park and Ridgefield Park. Good test for both these teams out of their normal conference slate of games as we're nearing the end of the regular season. Here's Devin Jang for 3, no good. Again, Jang is the marksman for this Fort Lee offense. 58 three-pointers made on the season for number 10 in white. And he's the type of shooter that he gets hot, he could be unconscious and really start to drain him at a high clip. Cross-court pass. Inside, nice post move. Left the defender in his wake, but Kolakowski just couldn't finish the hook shot against Stang. Stang outlets it down the floor. Clark getting it over in the near side. Jose Lorenzo has come into the game. Fort Lee passing up on a in-tight opportunity and a shot. Instead, pushing it back out. Fort Lee has scored only 9 points so far here in the first half, yet they're right in this ball game because their defense has been great. Devin Jang, though, had that pass squirt out of his own hands. That's going to be a turnover for the Bridgemen as we've crossed past the midway point of second quarter. Another spot-up 3, and that is the 3rd 3 of the first half executed and deposited by John Kelly. Kelly now with a game-high 11. He has outscored Fort Lee himself. 16-9, largest lead of the game now for Watchung Hills as Ogadegby tried to go high with the left hand, and he got fouled in the act of shooting. That foul will go against Kolakowski. That will be his first, team's 3rd, and bring Bem Ogadegby back to the line. Ogadegby now up to 8 points in the game. He's got 8 of Fort Lee's 10. Someone has to help him out as he is trying his best to keep his team in this game. Converts with both foul shot opportunities. He's got 9. 16-11 the lead now for Watchung Hills. Bottled up in the corner. And there's going to be a foul whistled against Fort Lee and Jose Lorenzo. Lorenzo was trying to double team in the near side corner. Vicente Leonez has come into the game for Watchung Hills. He was the man who got fouled right in front of us in the near corner. Another 3 for Kelly, and another 3 is knocked down. John Kelly is in the zone right now. He has 4 threes in the first half, 3 of which have come in the second quarter alone, and he's got 14 already, building off of that 24-point performance his last game. Devin Jang up top with an 8-point deficit for his side. Now getting it over to Ogadegbe. Ogadegbe picking up his dribble, looking for an outlet, tries to go backdoor to Isaiah Stang. Stang is struggling to get some space for his own shot. Cross-court pass to Ogadegbe. Ogadegbe shuffled the feet, and that'll lead to a turnover with 2:40 left to go here in the first half. Again, nothing coming easily right now offensively at this point in the season for Fort Lee. They just have no real ability to generate any easy offense, certainly in the interior, that could free up some of their guard play. You're seeing everything that is perimeter-oriented right now for the Bridgemen. Here's another 3 from that very same corner where Kelly has knocked down his last 2 opportunities. Just missed this time around. Here's Stang. 852 career points for number 25 in white. But he is still scoreless here in this game. Fort Lee needs to get going here with their leading scorer taking charge. Ogadegbe trying to shift gears. Up top to Jang. Extra ball movement into the corner for Ogadegbe. Stops on a dime, turns around inside the lane, no good. Clark trying to volleyball it out to his teammate. But that ball is taken down by Dean Smith. Smith kick out. Right back inside to Smith, but he took his eyes off it. Now pried away. Good defensive work there in the recovery with 90 seconds left to go. Stang pulls up in transition. The 3 off the mark. 1 and done with a rebound underneath by Kelly. Here come the Warriors in the open floor. Going backdoor in the baseline. Good recovery defense by Greenberg. He anticipated where that pass was going. Now Greenberg trying to go coast to coast with it. His layup attempt is no good. A lid on the rim for both sides. Watchung Hills now pulling up in the half-court offense. As we approach the final minute of the first half, dumped down low inside. And that's going to be a travel first committed by Kolakowski before he thought a foul was about to ensue. Fort Lee has produced only 11 total points, yet they're still within striking distance thanks to their defense. Their defense has been keeping them in this game. Here's Stang. Try to go with a crossover, dribble it off his foot instead. Another turnover forced by the Watchung Hills defense. This defense on the season allowing less than 50 points per game to their opponents. Might be in a position here to once again have Fort Lee not even score upwards of 40 points in this game. It has been a slog of a game so far here in the first half for both teams. Outside of the outside shooting of John Kelly, not much to speak of. Stang intercepts, good anticipation. He's in the open floor. Isaiah goes coast to coast and gets on the scoreboard. Will that be the momentum that he needed? Watchung Hills trying to break it here. Here's a shot right before the buzzer. Would have been good if it counted. Just hit the front rim, no good. So Isaiah Stang was held scoreless for almost the entire first half. But because of that steal at the end of the quarter, was able to go coast to coast and get the layup. And that makes this a 6-point deficit ending the first half of play. Watchung Hills leads Fort Lee 19-13. We'll be back for the start of the second half of play as you're watching all the action of this showdown, courtesy of the Fort Lee Athletic Department on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Welcome back, everybody, inside East Gymnasium here at Fort Lee High School as we're moments away from the resumption of play and the start of the second half. Watchung Hills leads Fort Lee by a score of 19-13 after the first half of play. Taking a look at the stats from the first half. Game high, 14 points for John Kelly, the sharpshooter for the Warriors. He connected on 4 3-pointers in that first half of play. Braden Kolikowski chipped in 4 points, and Brian Zhang with 1 point as well. For Fort Lee, they're led by Bem Ogadegbe's 9 points in that first half. Isaiah Stang only held to 2 points. That came right near the end of the second quarter off a steal and then a layup the other way. Devin Zhang with 2 and Kamani Clark with 1. So 19-13 starting off this second half. Fort Lee, the home side in the whites. Watchung Hills, the visitors here today in their road brown with golds and silver numerals. Here's a long-range 3 for Isaiah Stang, and Stang starts off on a high note here to begin the third quarter. A long-range 3, and Stang quickly has last 5 consecutive points. But then immediately another answer by John Kelly. Kelly is just having uncontested looks at 3 all game long. He's now knocked in 5 made threes. 17 points now for John Kelly. 22-16, the lead back to 6. Here's Devin Zhang trying to get going with a 3. Rattled in and out, nearly banked it in. Ogadegbe with the hustle play, leading it off for Isaiah Stang. Stang 7 unanswered points in this game for Fort Lee. That was off of pure hustle by Ogadegbe. He forced the steal and then the easy assist on the play and the layup by Isaiah Stang. Fort Lee starting offensively, get a little confidence here. Now give and go inside, a pick and roll. Big man for Watchung Hills lost the initial handle. And then Kolikowski trying to go up with it. He got stripped on the play after Yildirimaz, the 6'3 senior, had that initial penetration inside, but again, didn't have the clean handle to try to go up for the layup. Fort Lee is not blessed with that much size this season after graduating 6'4 Greg Garcia a season ago. Here's a spot up 3. It's Watchung Hills. Can't get it to go with Aiden Hockmeyer. 5 3-pointers in this game for Watchung Hills, all courtesy of number 11, John Kelly. Devin Zhang dribbling it up, now handing it off to Ogadegbe. 4-point deficit for Fort Lee. Ogadegbe trying to spread the floor here. Here's Kamani Clark. Clark's got to be more of a factor offensively here for his team as well. Here's Ogadegbe open for 3, short. Rebounded inside by Kolikowski. Now lets it down the floor to Hockmeyer. Into the corner on the far side. Watchung Hills being patient on offense. They're a team that averages 56.8 points per game. Another 3 attempts, no good. Kelly saw the miss, came in and swooped in for the offensive rebound. John Kelly was 17 of his team's 22 in this game. Stripped on his way up was Kolikowski. Last touch off of Watchung Hills. So that's a second consecutive shot opportunity off the board for Kolikowski because he was stripped in the act of shooting. Fort Lee has done a very good job defensively. Again, that is what's kept this a winnable game for the Bridgemen here at home. Now it's got to be dependent on how the offense can get going here. Clark's pass trying to go back door, and that time Ogadegbe kind of stopped his run to the hoop. That led to the turnover. Nobody matching up in transition. Another 3 is left short by Watchung Hills. That time it was Tommy Morris trying to sink in the triple. Isaiah Stang in the open floor. Fallback jumper is short. Both teams struggling from the field, and that's Kamani Clark with the offensive rebound. But then the tie-up is going to give the possession arrow favoring Watchung Hills as the visiting Warriors will go back on offense. Again, they come in the 11th seed in North 2 Group 4 PowerPoint rankings. Fort Lee, the number 9 seed in North 2 Group 3. Huge PowerPoints on the line here for the victor. Another turnover forced by the full court pressure of Fort Lee. Ogadegbe with the Euro step got fouled as he was trapped underneath the rim as well. And that'll send Bem to the line with a chance to pull Fort Lee as close as 2 with 4:45 left to go in a low-scoring third quarter. Ogadegbe missing on that foul shot. He was 2 for 2 at the line in the first half. Ogadegbe goes 1 of 2 at the line. He's got 10 points now in the game. Leading scorer for Fort Lee. Lead is now down to 3 for Watchung Hills, 22-19. Cross-court pass. Here's a corner 3 ball for Kelly. No good. Such a rarity when he actually misses. Ball loose on the deck in the paint. Hustle play by Ogadegbe. He's tied up, and the possession arrow should be favoring Fort Lee. I think they have the arrow incorrectly still listed. Should have been for Fort Lee, seeing that the last possession arrow did go in favor of Watchung Hills. Referee right on the spot in that call. So despite the incorrect arrow on the scoreboard, possession will go back over to the Bridgmen. 22-19 as we're coming up on the midway point of the third quarter of play. Thanks for joining us here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Isaiah Stang starting to show signs of life. He's up to 7 points here this afternoon. Skyland Conference taking on the Big North Conference here today. Devin Chang caught up in midair, just bailed out. The last moment finding a wide open Ogadegbe. Greenberg around the horn. Love to get some offense here from Devin Chang. Chang being forced to dribble and then gets the floater to fall. Not normally in his arsenal, but Devin Chang's made it work that time. Chang with 4 points in the game. Into the corner, uncontested look, and a wide open 3 ball. Knocked in by Watchung Hills to stop that run of late for Fort Lee. Vicente Leones knocking in the 3. First player other than John Kelly to hit from deep. 25-21. Stang, nice move there. Had the defender fly by him. Then he pulled back and the step back jumper falls. Stang now with 9 points. He's got 7 in this third quarter alone for Fort Lee. And it's back to a 2-point deficit for the Bridgmen. Hockmeyer. Kolakowski dumping it down low. Got it back from Smith. Kolakowski across the lane. He tried to get a floater to go. Could not bank it home. Followed up his own miss with another shot that ends up with another short shot attempt. Good looks there for number 14 and Brown. Just couldn't convert. Now Ogadegbe and Fort Lee can tie or either take the lead. Ogadegbe, what a nice move. Froze his defender. Followed up his miss and he banks it home. Bam Ogadegbe with 12 points for Fort Lee. And we are tied 25 all. Good Brazilian comeback effort here by the Bridgmen in the third quarter. Here's another wide open 3 look in the far side. Watchung Hills getting 3-point happy against this Fort Lee zone. Here's Devin Jang, and that's going to be the shuffle and a blocking foul against Kelly and Watchung Hills. That was the proper call as well. The official on the far side saw that Kelly was kind of shuffling a little bit. Was not established trying to draw the charge against Devin Jang in the open floor. So Devin Jang will head to the line. He's the leading foul shooter on the season. 86% from the line this year for the Bridgmen. And he swishes home the first opportunity, has given Fort Lee back the lead. First time that they've held the lead since early in the first half. Jang, 2 for 2 at the line. He's got 6 in the game now. So the 3 leading scorers on the season starting to come alive here for Fort Lee. Stang, Ogadegbe, and Jang. Giving Fort Lee the lead at 27-25. Where will the offense come from for Watchung Hills? Here's Kelly. He's their main man in the near corner. Hockmeyer finding Kelly again with a kick. Kelly driving in the baseline, reverses it to the far side, no good. Offensive rebound inside against Kamani Clark. Kelly goes with a left-hand hook, and it rattles in and out. That looked like that was surely about to drop, and now it's going to be a timeout taken by Coach Adam Schrager in Fort Lee as his team has raced back thanks to their stellar and suffocating defense here in the second half. And the offense that is starting to percolate. It's 27-25. Fort Lee on top with less than 90 seconds left to go in the third quarter of play. Fort Lee outscoring Watchung Hills so far here in the third quarter by a margin of 14-6. They've turned a 6-point halftime deficit into a 2-point advantage right now here at home with 1:27 left to go. Fort Lee again coming in having lost 6 out of their last 7 games, including back-to-back home games here at East Gymnasium. Into the backcourt to Ogadegbe. How aggressive will Fort Lee get, or will they try to run out the remainder of this quarter? Ogadegbe looking for an outlet, gets it to Isaiah Stang. The senior had only 8 points last game against Demorest, up to 9 points here. Almost went the entire first half without scoring. Scored late on a turnover. That gave him the confidence heading into this second half. Here's Stang dribbling up a storm. Looking up top for Ogadegbe. 50 seconds left to go here in the third quarter. Again, patient offense here for the Bridgemen. Ogadegbe kicking out to the near side to John Wang, who's come into the game for the first time. Back up top to Bem. Beng cuts inside. What a move, and just couldn't get the layup to drop, though. Ogadegbe looking for the steal against Kelly. Ball is loose. Watchung Hills survives here. Has the timeline. Quickly trying to get it down the floor in an unsettled situation. Ball squirted free. Nearly was a steal produced by Stang. Hochmeyer across the lane. Open three look from the near side. Short. Offensive rebound inside by Smith. Smith tries to body his way forward. He's blocked away by Stang. Stang comes out of the pack with it. He's got numbers advantage. Stang, no look, takes it to the hole, and it's a blocking foul against Watchung Hills, and that'll send Isaiah Stang to the foul line to shoot 2 with 0.4 seconds left to go in the third quarter of play. That's a big call there, and the right call again. Watchung Hills was falling backwards when they were trying to set the charge. And Isaiah, who's a 77% foul shooter, tickles the net there. 10 points now in the game for Stang. Big opportunities cashed in and converted there at the foul line near the end of the quarter. And Fort Lee will take a 4-point lead into the fourth quarter of play here at home in a game that would be huge for the Bridgemen if they could pull out this victory against a very good Watchung Hills side. So after 3 quarters of play, it's Fort Lee on top, 29-25. Stick around as we head to the fourth quarter of action here in Bergen County, coming up next on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Fort Lee fans had more points in that third quarter alone than they had for the entire first half. They outscored Watchung Hills 16-6 in that third quarter and made a 6-point deficit become a 4-point advantage as they lead 29-25 heading into the fourth quarter here in Bergen County. So Watchung Hills looking to rally here as we begin the fourth quarter. Fort Lee's zone defense has provided some problems here today for this Watchung Hills offense. But again, normally averages around 57 points per game. Foul's going to be on the floor against Kamani Clark. For Clark, that is going to be his second. Only the first team foul the entire second half for Fort Lee. And back-to-back plays lead to back-to-back fouls, and in the act of shooting is Watchung Hills. So that'll send the Warriors to the foul line. Try to pull a little closer here in the opening seconds of the fourth quarter. John Wang picking up the personal foul. Watchung Hills has only committed 3 fouls of their own here in this entire second half. Brings John Kelly to the line shooting 2. Kelly short on the first foul shot opportunity. Watchung Hills fell in love with the 3-point shot in that third quarter. And outside of just knocking down a three by Kelly, they were not really effective in getting those opportunities. Only 2 threes made in that quarter as Kelly goes 1 of 2 at the line. Got a game-high 18 now. 29-26, 3-point lead for Fort Lee. This would be one of their most important victories of the season as Greenberg had to handle that high dribble. Here's Ogadegbe. Ogadegbe, scoop shot attempt, no good. Didn't have the angle there, try to force it. Smith shuffling in that far corner, double team comes to him, looking desperately for an outlet, gets it up top to Hochmeyer. Around the horn, eventually gets into the hands of Kelly. Now up top to Kolakowski. Kolakowski had 4 quick points in the first quarter, hasn't scored since. There's Kelly again. Another triple for John Kelly. He's got 21 points in this game, and a timeout taken by Fort Lee as this game is deadlocked at 29 all. It's a 4-0 run to start off the fourth quarter for Watchung Hills. John Kelly now with 6 made threes in this game. Has a game-high 21 points this afternoon for Watchung Hills. So he is lighting it up just as he did in the last game. 24 points over the weekend with 3 threes in the win against North Bergen, a team that we saw here earlier this season, just after Christmas time as part of the Jack Riley Holiday Tournament that annually is hosted here by Fort Lee. North Bergen won the tournament championship over Fort Lee in the tournament final. So that is an impressive win for Watchung Hills. They are looking to make it back-to-back road wins here after struggling on the road for the majority of their season. They're 2-5 away from home. Fort Lee 7-5 here in their home gym. The struggles this season have been on the offensive end more than even the defensive end. Defense keeps them in games. When the Bridgemen can start to generate a little offense, they can be dangerous. Fort Lee looking for power points that could jettison them back into the top 8 in North 2 Group 3 and put them in line potentially for at least one home game in the postseason. Watchung Hills with a little work to do in North 2 Group 4. As now it's going to be a foul on the floor as Stang was sent tumbling. That foul will go against Tommy Morris, number 22. His second, team's 4th of the second half. Greenberg will inbound it close to the scorer's table, right in front of his bench. Ogadegbe running the point guard duties right now as Stang will set the screen in front of him. Ogadegbe with a right-hand dribble. Normally a little more comfortable in the left hand. Here's Stang. He's going to be matched up by John Kelly. Kelly's got the height advantage. Stang's got the speed advantage. Good defense there by Kelly, sealing off the middle of the lane. Ogadegbe over now to Stang. Stang has shown that deep touch early on in the second half. Stang across the lane and scooped it high off the rim and in. All the different moves there. The head and shoulder fakes as Stang finishes it off. And now it's going to be a foul whistled against the Bridgemen on the floor. Stang with the start and stop and had that finger roll finish high off the glass and a hit off the front of the rim and just fell back in. Stang is up to 13 points now in this game after a slow start in the first half. 31-29. Fort Lee on top of Watchung Hills. Kelly, he used the height advantage there, went back to his left hand, and Kelly's got everything in his arsenal. We've seen his outside touch. Now he's starting to dominate inside. 23 points now for number 11. Greenberg quickly outlets it down the floor to Devin Jang. Jang with a lot of contact, but no call. Referee's letting them play, 31-31. Another made basket for Kelly would give him his season high in points. Quick ball movement around the perimeter. Kolakowski getting it over to Hochmeyer. The adjustments being made by Justin Salton is having their best player inside the middle of the zone, not having him on the perimeter. That shot was no good. And now a reach-in foul against the Warriors. It's the smart move. Where is their possible openings? Usually it's against a zone around, flashing around the foul line. And if you could get it inside to the capable John Kelly, he could do some serious damage, certainly considering that Fort Lee does not have a shot blocker inside. Last foul was against Smith, his second, team's fifth. Stang dribbling it off his foot. Ball was loose, pinballed into the hands of number 22, Tommy Morris. So Watchung Hills once again will set up on offense with a chance to retake the lead. 4:25 and counting left to go in regulation. What has been a very low-scoring, defensive-oriented game. Good pick, set up the freedom there for Kelly, and Kelly drains it yet again. He has been a dead-eye shooter all afternoon long. And now for John Kelly, he's up to a season-high 26 points, and he has knocked down 7, count them, 7 three-pointers. That was a great screen set on the far side. I think Adam Schrager was coming out onto the court to try to protest and say that was a moving screen that allowed Kelly to slip behind his teammate and be open for the look at three. So Watchung Hills has turned a 4-point deficit heading into the fourth quarter, now into a 3-point lead. They've wrestled back command 34-31. Next game on the Watchung Hills schedule for their regular season is home game against Morris Catholic on the 13th. Might have tournament games in their county before that. For Fort Lee, they will next be hosting league rival Dwight Morrow here at East Gymnasium on February 9th. Fans can watch that game here, as is the case for all home sporting events at Fort Lee on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. So that's going to be Fort Lee hosting Dwight Morrow and the Maroon Raiders here on February 9th in our next broadcast. Almost at the midway point of the fourth quarter. 34-31. Watchung Hills on top after another three-point shot produced by John Kelly. He has produced 7 of his team's 8 made threes in this game. Now Ogadegby and Fort Lee will have to get back going here offensively. Defense did the job in the third quarter, as well as the offense producing 16 points. Kevin Jang drawing a host of defenders against him. Now back up top to Ogadegby. Clark trying to set his screen at the foul line. Ogadegby kicking it out. Here's Stang. Good look from three. And we are tied at 34 all. Big players are coming to play here today. Isaiah Stang's second made three. He's got 16 for the Bridgemen. Inside, and that time a rare miss from inside by John Kelly. Rushed that shot, had a little more time than maybe he thought he had. 34-34, Fort Lee tying it up on that last made three by Isaiah Stang. Clark looking for an outlet, finds it in Greenberg. Here's Stang. Stang, quick dribble. Kind of lost where he was, though, and he hit into the underneath part of the stanchion of the backboard. 34-34. There's Kelly again, open for three. Fort Lee benefits by a rare miss from deep, and crashing on the offensive glass inside was number 14, Braden Kolakowski. Those are the things that you just can't have happen right now if you're Fort Lee and you're trying to pull out this win. You can't leave a wide-open John Kelly for another three-point look. Kolakowski missing on the foul shot. 2:39 left to go in the fourth quarter. 34-34, and what's lived up to the hype. This is a good matchup here between these two teams that don't really know each other. Kolakowski goes 1 of 2 at the line, gives Watchung Hills back the lead at 35-34. Hand off is to Jang. Back to Ogadegby. Stang, dangerous pass, nearly was intercepted. Here's a 15-foot jumper. Fadeaway attempt, no good. Ogadegbe, quickness on full display. Ogadegbe crashed the offensive glass, went right back up with it. 14 points for Bem. 36-35. Fort Lee back in front as we're coming up in the final 2 minutes of the game. Kelly outletted it into the corner. Ball was loose. Smith came away with it. Coach Schrager demanding his team hustle and get on the floor. Another big entry there for Kolakowski. Cut through the course of the lane, and that time banked it home. He gives his team back the lead, 37-36, 1:45 and counting left to go in regulation. Dynamic duo of Isaiah Stang and Bem Ogadegbe leading Fort Lee here. They're in this ball game late in this contest against Watchung Hills. Ogadegbe across the lane, up top to Stang. Stang with a left-hand dribble. He got bodied up and fouled in the act of shooting with 1:24 left to go in regulation. Searching out the contact, and Isaiah so adept at using his body under control to draw the foul, and now a chance at the foul line. And Stang has been clutch at the line here today. 3 for 3, 17 points now for the senior. Stang again. Money at the line. 18 points now for Isaiah. Fort Lee back in front, 38-37. 1:18 and counting left to go in regulation. Stang defending now inside. The guard playing more as a big man role on defense. The back line of this defensive zone. Here's Smith in the corner. 1 minute remaining here in the fourth quarter. Watchung Hills looking to recapture the lead. Kelly getting it back up top. Hockmeyer into the corner to Smith. Kolakowski now was inside the zone. Now it's Kelly inside the zone. Fort Lee has to be aware of where he is. They get it into him. Turnaround shot, and he gets it all to roll. Kelly again has that 6'2" frame, and he can see up and over any defender trailing behind him. It was a good bounce pass in the interior of the zone. Kelly just quickly made up his mind, turned around, and got enough of the hook shot to fall to give Watchung Hills back the lead. 39-38. John Kelly now with a game-high 28 points for the Warriors. Trying to pick up their third road win of the season and second in a row after dispatching North Bergen 55-38 over the weekend. Fort Lee, again, cannot stress enough how enormous this potential win could be if Fort Lee can rally here late and find their way into a win at home. This is a team that's been starving for a little consistency and a little positivity. After a hot start to the season, Fort Lee came into this game today having lost 6 out of their last 7 games. This could be a game that could help turn the tide for the Bridgemen late here in the regular season before entering into a postseason. Work to do, though. Down by 1, 39.6 seconds left to go. Watchung Hills has 6 team fouls, so any subsequent foul against the Warriors would send Fort Lee to the line. Ogadegbe with 14 in the game, Isaiah Stang with 18. You have to think that one of those two players is going to take the shot here. Under 30 seconds left to go in regulation. Ogadegbe will hand it off to Stang. Kolakowski extending the defense. Handoff is to Bem. Bem tries to body his way to the rim and does with the left hand. Fort Lee back in front. 15 seconds left to go in the game. 40-39 Bridgemen. Have to think they're going to try to guard here, and they steal it away. Isaiah Stang with the thievery. And a foul administered by Watchung Hills with 5 seconds left to go. I was just about to say, if you're Watchung Hills, you have to think you're going to be trying to get it into the hands of number 11. But instead, they worked around the perimeter. Isaiah Stang anticipated, and a big steal here, and now a 1-and-1. And it looks like a timeout's going to be taken with 5.1 seconds left to go. 40-39, the lead for Fort Lee after that steal. So Isaiah Stang will be at the foul line awaiting this chance to really extend his team's lead. Even if he hits a pair of foul shots, Watchung Hills will be down only 3, and when you have the likes of John Kelly on your side, a man that is connected on 7 3-pointers in this game, hope is always going to be alive and well. But again, this is not even a 2-shot foul. This is 1-1, so that front end of the 1-1 is going to be oh so important for Isaiah Stang. This Fort Lee defense has been sensational today. It's going to be another game, a low-scoring game for Fort Lee. But the defense has been the story so far. Now this is where foul shooting matters so much. A 1-1 for Isaiah Stang, 18 points here this afternoon for the Bridgman senior. Stang, ice water in the veins there as he swishes home that first foul shot. He's 5 for 5 at the line here today. 41-39, the lead for the Bridgmen, trying to make this a 3-point advantage. Clark is the only one in the lane for Fort Lee. And Stang, not rattled at all. 20 points after knocking down another foul shot. Here's a turnaround 3 at the buzzer. No good by Watchung Hills. And Fort Lee produces arguably their biggest win of the season. They rally from down 6 at halftime. They come back late in this one in regulation. And Fort Lee will hold on to win by a final score of 42-39. That 3 attempt by Aiden Hockmeyer was not off by much there at the end of regulation, as Fort Lee, with a gigantic win here today, will bounce back after suffering a couple of tough losses their last 2 times out, including a heartbreaking loss against Cliffside Park last week. And Fort Lee gets their 12th win of the season, and they'll go to 12-9 on the year with the loss. Watchung Hills will fall to 11-9 this season. So the Bridgmen come back late thanks to the heroics of Isaiah Stang. Stang was money at the foul line, made a couple of big defensive plays, and turns over Watchung Hills late. But still at the very end, Fort Lee had to hold their collective breaths, and we did it with them, as Watchung Hills nearly tied it up and forced overtime, but the Bridgmen survived. So big power points there, as Fort Lee, a reminder, fans will be back here at East Gymnasium for their next game against Dwight Morrow on February 9th. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in to another edition of Fort Lee Bridgman Basketball here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. We'll see you next time as Fort Lee finishes off a big-time win here today at home. Take care, everybody.